Welcome back to Frank's Model Aviation Workshop. This episode, not really an episode, it's more of a tips and tricks video that I want to put out just to highlight some of the things that I use, the tips that I do and hints throughout my build that I don't necessarily explain during my build, but I wanted a standalone video that I can include in every playlist, that if you want to see how I do certain things, like seaming balsa sheets or taking dents out, stuff like that. This video is going to cover about a half a dozen different things that I do that I don't normally explain usually. Sometimes I do, I think the majority of the time, but I just want a standalone video that I can just put in each playlist so people can reference that for different things. So we'll get into this. I've got like 6 different things, and I'll show you how I resolve things and make things better with the build. So if you like this type of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit that notification bell so that you can be notified of future uploads and all that stuff. And be sure and like and share my videos. I'd really appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get started. So the half a dozen tips that I'm going to be demonstrating today, in no particular order, are dent removal, joining balsa sheets, thin CA gap filling, thin CA edge reinforcement, perfect monocoat overlap, and T-bar sander paper removal and replacement. I know I read that off of a cue card, but I wanted to get it right. So anyway, we'll get started with, in no particular order, I'll just start with one. I'm going to do the easiest one first, dent removal. Okay, so as you can see here, I have a demonstration of the dent removal. I've got like 5 different degrees of dents. Some of them are really bad. Now, if you get one that's too severe that won't come all the way out, you'll have to fill with some balsa filler, but I'm pretty sure I can get most of these completely out. This is basically a hanger rash type of situation. You bang things around while your wing's in storage during your build or whatever. Could be anything, wing, tail, whatever. But we will demonstrate on how to get these dents out. So this is a before, and then we'll show the after. So what you need, paper towel, water, and a very hot sealing iron. So I'm going to start off by soaking this paper towel. And then you just take the paper towel on the dents. Just get them nice and moist. And if it doesn't work on the first go, you can always re-wet. Even just this moisture of the paper towel will start to bring those dents out. Now I'm going to put it on the table. And you just set that iron on there. And you'll hear the steam of the water in the grain of the wood. So you basically just steam the dents out. Now I used one of my 8-pound steel rocker arms to make these dents, so they might not come out completely, but they'll be dang close, as you can see. That one here is the really bad one. I might still be able to get it out. Yes, it came out. So as you can see there, all 5 of those dents are gone. And they were pretty bad. Some of them were pretty deep. And like I said, if you get some that are not coming out all the way, no matter what you do, just a little light balsa filler will get them out. So that's the end of demonstration number 1. Next episode, I'm going to demonstrate thin CA gap filling. Okay, now a gap could be anything from a nice gash to something, that's like a gash or a gap. Or it could be like you join two thick pieces of balsa wood, like for instance on a top flight P-51 build where you have all those pieces come together, and you'll have gaps. Hopefully you don't have major gaps, but if you have major gaps, you'll have to. What I would do then is like sliver balsa wood, stuff it down in there, then use this method. But these gaps were made with basically a chisel. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some CA in these gaps, wipe it a little bit, and take 180 sandpaper and fill it. And what that's going to do is going to take those sand dust, mix it with thin CA inside that gap or inside whatever gash you're trying to fill, and it will make this smooth as glass. So I'm going to zoom in and as close as I can get to the table so you can see it happening. Okay, so basically what you do, and this might get messy because I got ink here, so it's going to smear that ink probably, but you just take your thin CA and just fill that gap up a little bit and get after it with the sandpaper. And you might have to do it a couple times, which is okay. You're going to keep doing it until it fills. I used this technique on my P40 when I built it, and you could not see any type of deviation from the actual balsa wood. It was like glass. One more time, should be good. Kind of hard to show it, but that's literally like glass. Let's see if I can get it to. I know it doesn't look pretty, but it feels oh so good. Okay, that'll be the gap filling, thin CA gap filling demonstration. Okay, the next video or demonstration is preserving your nice sharp aileron edge or any edge that you want to keep for when you go to monocoat and you take your iron over that, it won't round off that edge. So the trick I use for that, and many people use it, thin CA. You just take the thin CA on that, the root or whatever you want to keep sharp. And after you do that, you take your sandpaper after it. Like here's another side, we'll do it too. You can also do this. You can go on, if you just want to preserve that corner. Now that corner there will take a little bit of abuse. It's sharp too. So it will stay sharp as you monocoat around that. That edge will stay nice and crisp, and your monocoat job will be top of the line. And you can do that with whatever you want to preserve, whatever edge you want to preserve. Just take the CA just along that edge a little bit, just wipe it off, take the sandpaper to it, and there you have it, a preserved edge ready for monocoating or covering, however you want to, whatever you use for covering. And that'll be the thin CA edge reinforcement demonstration. The next demonstration will be joining two pieces of balsa sheeting together perfectly. Now, it's not always going to fit that good, and these aren't perfect. There's still gaps I can see. So the way you start off, you want to get your edge. You want a nice fresh blade in your X-Acto. So we'll take just a little bit off the edge. I'm only going to true the edges that I'm joining. Normally I true both sides of the balsa sheet. You just take a sliver off. That way you know that edge is straight. Take a sliver off this one too. So right now these two edges are straight. They will go together. But you don't know whether you've trimmed that perfectly square. So the way you figure that out, so what I like to use is my trusty Permagrit. It sits 90 degrees to the table, and you take your fresh cut edge. You have to raise it up. If you use a Permagrit, you have to raise it up because there's like a 30-second edge there that you have to get above. So as long as you're above that, now you just take your Permagrit and just take a few swipes at it. That edge is perfect. Now we'll do the other one. Now we'll come back over here and put them together. Those fit perfectly together. We don't need this anymore. What we do need is some wax paper or cling wrap, whatever your preference. Now, not all sheeting is the same thickness. So you have to determine what side you want to have facing out Whatever that side is, that's the side you want to face the table. Because as you're joining this sheeting, you're going to first press down on that seam while squeezing together with your fingers. That will make sure that that seam right there is flat to the table. You may have a difference in height here. It doesn't matter, because once it's glued to your structure, you're never going to see this side. You're going to see the nice smooth side that you're joining for. So what I like to do is put 3 pieces of tape on the finger that I'm going to be using for spreading the glue. And you need some thin CA. So you start by getting your sheets lined up, press down where you want to glue, and then you just run your CA in there. Move on down to the next, and as you move down, you want to press down on that seam. That'll flatten it to the table. And then finish it off. Then once you're done with the tape, so you can take that off. And you'll take your 220 or whatever you want to use, and you'll lightly sand the side that you just glued, because you don't want, you want to make it as smooth as you can, but don't worry about trying to take that ridge off, because you don't need to. So now you'll take that side off and you'll sand it lightly. And there you have 2 perfectly joined sheets. This will be the outside wherever you want it to be. And that is light glass. That'll be the joining balsa sheets demo. Okay, this next demonstration is how to replace the sandpaper on your T-bar sanders. As you can see, they fill up with glue sometimes, and the sandpaper gets dull. So you want to change it. So what do? What I like to use when I attach my sandpaper to my T-bar sander is this stuff. It's repositional adhesive. This has done wonders and made my life so easy, because it sticks very well. It doesn't come off. I've never had it peel up. And when you get it off there, the adhesive that's left behind on that sandpaper or the T-bar rubs off like rubber cement. Then you just alcohol it, spray your paper, and apply a new piece, cut it around, and you have another fresh piece of sandpaper. I hear people saying you need to use 3M77. I say that's the dumbest thing you could possibly do, because you will play heck getting that adhesive off these T-bar sanders, even if you use heat. This stuff here is the best stuff you can ever use. So anyway, I'm going to demonstrate taking the paper off live. I'm not going to cut this video because I want to show you. You need a really hot iron, and you just have to get it started. Just leave it on there until you can feel the heat coming through the T-bar. Takes a few seconds. Once that heat transfers through and you can feel it, all you gotta do is get under it. Might need a razor blade to start. This is the repositionable adhesive. Comes off just like that. And then the adhesive that's left behind, it rubs off just like rubber cement. It don't take nothing. Whereas that 3M77 stuff that I used to use, you used to have to get after it with WD-40 to get that stuff off. There's a perfectly clean T-bar sander. Here's a 5.5 that I did earlier. So now to put it back on, I like to use this 3M no slip grip backing. Lasts longer. That's the best sandpaper to use with this stuff. There's something about that backing that allows it to free itself from the T-bar sander. So what I like to do is I just put the backing down, and I got this paper down to protect my table. But you just spray it with this 3M stuff until you get a kind of a milky haze on it. About like that. It's about good. Now, while that's tacking up, I'm going to take some alcohol and clean off my T-bar. This is too small for that, so I'm gonna do the 5.5. So you want to clean off your T-bar so that when you put it down on here, it'll be nice and perfect. As soon as that dries, I'll put it on. So it's about tacked up. So I'm going to try to use as much of this paper as I can because I don't like to waste it. So you just press it on there. And I'm going to get rid of this now. I don't need it. So you just press it on and you cut it off flush with the end or flush with the edge. And then I give it a press. And there it is. A nice brand new fresh T-bar with fresh paper. Now, one thing you want to do, only when you're using this repositionable stuff, you only want to spray the paper. Don't spray the paper and whatever you're putting it on, because then you'll play heck getting it off. Only spray what you want to remove. So since I have this, what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to attempt to use this same paper and do this big one. This is the 11-inch. So that other piece, sorry about your ears. I'm going to try. Don't know if I'll be able to do this, but I'm going to try. Just butt it up. And there we have it. We got two now. Fresh 180. I'll have to oh, that does say 180. But that's it. You just let that dry a little bit and they're ready to go. That paper will not come off. And then this extra stuff, what I like to do is just fold it over on itself. That'll give you a nice two-sided piece of sandpaper. I don't like to waste sandpaper because you can use it. Even this little piece, there'll be a place where you can use it somewhere. And that'll go in my sandpaper drawer. Okay, so that'll be the T-bar sander sandpaper replacement tip. Hope you like that one. Okay, this next tip is probably going to help a lot of people out that want to learn monocoat or want to improve their monocoat ability. What I'm going to demonstrate is the perfect overlap. I mean, there's guys that can do it by hand, and I've done it by hand, where you can get the perfect overlap and it'll be perfectly straight. But the way I'm going to show you is my method for making the perfect overlap on, box style, fuselages and stuff. I mean, there's other ways of doing, the other types of fuselages, but this is the one that I like the most for doing, because I build a lot of Carl Goldberg kits, and those are box style. So anyway, we'll start off by monocoating on some yellow. This is Cub Yellow, I believe. Hate to waste my monocoat on a demonstration because this stuff is slowly but surely disappearing off the market. Alright, so I'm going to start by monocoating this on one side of this, and we'll trim it up. Now this wood that I'm using, it's not perfect. It hasn't been sanded fine or nothing. I'm just doing this for the demonstration. So you want to heat up that corner there. And what I like to use is a popsicle stick. And you just put it up to your edge. Like that, basically. And you just run your knife as soon as you can get it over the popsicle stick. Okay, so when I go to trim this over, that's a perfectly straight line, basically an 1/8 inch overlap. Now when I do the other half, it's going to be a 1/4 inch overlap. So I'm going to trim this off and I'll be back. Okay, so say you want your black or whatever colors you're joining together. Say you want it to end exactly on that corner. That's when you want to not use the popsicle stick. You want to take a straight edge razor and just run it along this edge. And when you go to fold it over, that should end right there on that edge. But for this demonstration, I'm going to use the popsicle stick for the black. You can use 2 pieces of tape also to take these apart. But if you have an edge like that, it's easy to get off. Alright, so let's get this set up. This is not a model, so I'm not really worried about it being absolutely perfect, but I'm just more worried about that seam that I want to show you. Alright, now I'm going to trim that off real quick so I don't have so much to work with. Trim this too while I'm at it. Okay, so you take your popsicle stick, put it along that edge, and just make sure it's flat. You want your popsicle stick to be flat to whatever edge you want to work with. And then you just run your knife along it. Might need to sharpen my blade or get a sharp blade. And then just melt it over. And that's all the overlap you'll get. 1/8 inch. Now, can you imagine if this is all the same color? You would not see any seam anywhere. So that is the demonstration of the perfect monocoat overlap. I'm sure there's guys out there that have other ways of doing it. This is my way of doing it. It's never failed me, and I've been building RC airplanes monocoating since 1993, so I've been doing it a while, and through the years you pick up different things. Well, anyway, that'll be that demonstration. Well, I hope what I demonstrated with those 6 tips helped people out. Hopefully, if you had any questions about anything that I was doing in my videos, I explained it just right there. There's probably other tips that I'm not thinking of that I probably could have demonstrated, but those are the six tips that I use all the time when I'm building. So if you like this type of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit that notification bell so that you can be notified of future episodes. And also like and share my videos. I'd really appreciate that. So until I get my balsa wood, to finish these lost foam wings, because I want to get this ultimate biplane done. Because the next build series, it's going to be awesome. Thanks for watching.